In this screen recording, I'm going to be talking about the mise-en-scene, which we can see in Because of You. So if I just start at the beginning, I'm going to start logically and start with the location. As we can see, there is an overall colour vibe in the house as being neutral greens and browns. As we can see behind the walls, there's a very strong theme of that, even with that filter then on her face, but we will come back to that in the lighting bit. This seems quite a neutral and calm environment, which contrasts her vivid red clothing, obviously not in this bit, and here, but it can also reflect quite an icy cold place, depending on the audience's perception. So, if we skip to where the mirror scenes are, here, we can see that there's a very strong theme of black, which would suggest that she is struggling on the inside due to the lack of colour, unlike from the house, which is lots of colour and isn't really dull. It could also show that she's very undecided and that she's not happy with what's happening all around her, so doesn't know how quietly to express it, if that makes sense. So, after looking in the mirror, we can see that when it's looking back on the past things, there's almost like a yellow filter across all of the images and imagery, like here as well. This gives like a vintage effect to show the audience that it is in fact a flashback and not a current time situation, which is quite a clever idea. So if we go on to lighting now, we can see that outside the house, obviously it's quite high key lighting, just to give it that really natural overall shot or look, as if it was just a normal day with everything else happening. During the mirror scene, on the other hand, we can see that it's quite low-key lighting here. This is just to add to this endless look, and as though she's just constantly battling with her own self-mind and whatever's going on with her. So it just makes it seem more moody and stands out from all of the other scenes. We can also see that high key lighting definitely is used when the artist is singing in the room. This makes sure that the only main source of lighting is on her, so you can't look at anything else and you don't get distracted by anything else, which is quite a powerful thing to do, but it definitely has worked in here. So, where is it? Every time that somebody's walking away, you can see that, especially in this dark corridor here, you would expect there to be a few more shadows and just darker tones, but to get rid of all of that, they have used fill light, which is meant to reduce the shadows in underlit places, which it just takes the edge off of it really, so then it doesn't stick out too much, if you know what I mean. So like when she's walking around Here as well, you would expect there to be a shadow or something on this wall because of the light shining over here, but again, I feel like one more thing about the mirror scene quickly is that, as you can see, that there's very little light. The light which is in the room, it does bounce off of her, which makes her stand out a little bit more and just seem a little bit more important to the whole thing. When we get on to this point, you can see clearly here that they have decided to use a rim light, which basically just lightens her hair. Obviously that's quite a natural scene anyway, with the whole lighting and everything, but it just makes her stand out more. They've also used it here, as you can see. Again, it just really looks very, very golden and stands out significantly from the rest of her face. This could be seen more angelic in a way and gets her more sympathy from the audience. So, if we talk about clothing now, as we can see, the first young couple that are arguing, the man is wearing quite a slobby, baggy clothing, while the woman is wearing more formal but still not over the top clothing. This could suggest why they're arguing and discussing job situations and how she isn't really around or something like that. That's just my take on what could be happening, but it's up for the audience to decide, which is a good thing. The main character changes from her red lace, this, to a black top, grey, where is it? To this quite simple black dress, nothing over the top, but then it's a little bit more depressed and gloomy in a way. It could be showing how she's feeling at that current situation because she's arguing with her partner. Maybe she doesn't want to be, but it is definitely a change of mood. As the situation progresses, she seems more relaxed, casual. However, as she has lost the colourful clothing, it would imply that she's more morbid, which is supported due to the fact that she's crying later on as we go on and we go on. During the mirror scene, we see that that's a very bad choice. We see that there is another black, quite a formal dress this time. Although it's only a short amount of time, you can still, wait, isn't there you can see that it is definitely a more formal dress, the way that it's quite form-fitting, high neck, which obviously is quite modest, which means that she could be going somewhere quite posh. As it has got a turtleneck, as it has got a turtleneck, it makes sure that all of the attention is on the artist's face and emotions and arms compared to the last dress, the very low cut one, because it's showing more of her skin, which could draw some of the attention away. So for this scene, it's more powerful just to have her face and arms and hands standing out to get the true emotional message across. All of the characters in the flashback are wearing typical clothes from the 2000s or like late 90s. It's quite obvious due to all of the very patterned clothing, which is trying to connect to the audience from that time. Even from that short little glimpse, you can see that that's very 90s to whatever time. So it's definitely not 2019 style, should we just say that. Yeah. Moving on to the makeup. So throughout, for the main character, we can see a slightly dramatic look when she's just normally walking around, like here. So she has got some makeup on her eyes, but everything else but her face is quite natural. So from her foundation to her eyebrows to her lips, contour is pretty minimum, if at all. She's got a bit of blusher on, but nothing's over the top apart from her eyes. Even when we're on the mirror scene, if we go back a little bit, it's a little bit more enhanced, but again, it's still a very natural look. So there's never anything over the top and unnecessary. This is again just to make her seem a little bit more angelic and make sure that all the focus is on her rather than the makeup. Just going back to the location for a second, you can see that by having this, where is it? By having this typical house, it enables the audience to connect, which is quite a powerful thing in its own right, to be fair. So if the audience is able to go like, oh yeah, well that's just like a normal family, it could draw more people in than having it in a millionaire's big mansion, for example. So for the overall story, it's quite nice to see that the whole story is about her childhood and her parents arguing, divorcing, and then moving away. This automatically makes the audience feel more sorry for her, and some may have had the same situation again, so might be battling with the same, like, with the same inner emotions of just, like, no idea what to do or anything like that. One thing that is good, and I have mentioned it in one of the other videos, is that it's good to see that it ends with the fight at the beginning, implying to the audience that the situation that she's already been through, she doesn't want to happen to her own child. This reinforces when the audience is aware of the fact that she's got her own daughter and it is exactly like a relapse. This allows the audience to this allows the audience to reflect back and get why she doesn't want her own child to feel the same pain that she has done for all of these years. So that sums up the mise-en-scene part of Because of You.